Welcome to Lakshman Biology. Now I will start my class on the kingdom fungi. Actually, we classified the all organisms into the 5 groups in his 5 kingdom classification. Already we have discussed about the first 2 kingdoms, that are Monera and Protista. Now this is the 3rd kingdom, that is kingdom fungi. Then after completion of fungi, I will discuss about the Plantae and Animalia. What are the 5 kingdoms of Whittaker? That are Monera, Protista, fungi, Plantae and Animalia. Okay, here we will discuss about the kingdom fungi. Here in the kingdom fungi, actually it is a little bit complicated topic, but I will explain it in easy way. Kingdom fungi is divided, actually kingdom fungi, for your understanding, I have divided into different groups. Explanation of kingdom fungi divided into different groups. That are, first I will explain about the introduction. After that I will discuss about the nutrition of kingdom fungi. After that I will discuss about the body organization of kingdom fungi. After that I will discuss about the reproduction of kingdom fungi. Finally I will discuss about the classification. We will discuss kingdom fungi in 5 parts. That is, number 1 is introduction, number 2 is the nutrition, number 3 is body organization, number 4 is reproduction, number 5 is classification. Okay, first let's start with the introduction. The kingdom fungi are multicellular. Multicellular means the body is made with more than one cell, and those are heterotrophic in nature. Heterotrophic means they cannot prepare their food. Actually, if you observe here, the first point, that is multicellular, mostly multicellular. Kingdom fungi contain mostly multicellular organisms, but there is a few organisms, those are unicellular. Example for that, yeast, Saccharomyces. Yeast scientific name is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. This Saccharomyces or yeast is used for the production of bread, and it is also used for the production of beer. This Saccharomyces or yeast is one example for the unicellular fungus, but remaining fungi are the multicellular. Then the heterotrophs means they cannot prepare their own food, they will depend on another organisms for their food. Next, cosmopolitan. Cosmopolitan means cosmopolitan organisms can survive everywhere, are present at different places, lot of places. Example, if you observe the fungi present in water, fungi present in the air, fungi present in the soil, fungi present in on living organisms as a parasite. Hence, fungi is cosmopolitan. It lives everywhere. Then, but those are cosmopolitan, but those are like to live in the humid, warm environment. They are like to live in the humid and warm environment. Then, if you observe the moist bread, on the moist bread you can see the fungi. What is moist bread? If you take the bread and if you add some water on the bread, if you keep that bread in your room for 1 week or for a few days, after the few days you can see the formation of black color fungi on the bread. Fungus or fungi you can see on the bread. Here the rotten fruits means spoiled fruits. If you keep the fruits few days without using or without disturbing, what happen after few days? That fruits will be spoiled. That spoiled fruits are called as rotten fruits. That rotten fruits, on the rotten fruits also you can see the black color fungi. Then if you see the mushrooms and the toadstool, mushroom and toadstool are also the fungi. Mushroom, see, this is the mushroom and the toadstool. Both are similar to see, but actually that are not the same, both are different. See, mushrooms are edible, we can eat the mushrooms, but the toadstool we cannot eat. Why? Because those are poisonous. That is about the mushroom and toadstool and the difference between mushroom and the toadstool. Then after completion of introduction, we have to discuss about the nutrition. Second part that we have to discuss in the kingdom fungi is the nutrition. Kingdom fungi exhibit different types of nutrition, that are number one is saprophytic. The important type of nutrition that we can see in the kingdom fungi is the saprophytic nutrition. Second one is symbiotic nutrition. It is a mutual relationship in between fungi and another organisms. Next, parasitic. We can see parasitic nutrition also. Saprophytic. What is the saprophytic? Saprophytic nutrition means the fungi will absorb the organic, they lives on the dead organic substrates and absorb the dead organic substrates. See, this is the dead organic substrate. Here it is. This is the dead organic substrate and this is the fungi. If you see the fungi, mostly those are leaves on dead organic substrates and they will absorb the organic material which present in the dead organic substrates. That type of nutrition is called as saprophytic. Symbiotic nutrition. Symbiotic nutrition means here fungi lives along with the another organisms. Here it is the mutual relationship, like friendship. If you give pen, I'll give pencil. Means if your friend give pen to you, if you give pencil to your friend, that is mutual relationship. You have given pen and your friend given the pencil to you. Like that, here fungi lives with another organisms in the form of symbiotic relationship, in which what happen, fungi will give something to the another organism and it will get something from that organism. Example for that is, if fungi lives along with the algae, then that association is called as a lichen. Lichen is the symbiotic relationship in between the fungi and algae. Example here, this is the algae. Algae can do the photosynthesis because it is belongs to the plants. Here what happen, and this is the fungi which present on the algae. Both combinedly called as lichen. Here what happen, the fungi is helped for the absorption of phosphorus and absorption of water for the algae. It will absorb the phosphorus which present in the soil and it will absorb the water. That phosphorus and water it will supply to the algae for photosynthesis. Then what algae will do, it will prepare the food in the form of photosynthesis and it will provide some food to the fungi. Here what happened, both are they are in mutual relationship, both are helping together. Then another example for the symbiotic relationship is mycorrhiza. In mycorrhiza you can see fungi combine with the roots of higher plants. Example here, it is the root, this is the fungi. Here also same, fungi provide the phosphorus and water. It will absorb the phosphorus and water, or it will absorb the some minerals and water and it will provide to the plants for photosynthesis, and the plant will give the some food, plant root will give some food to the fungi. That is the symbiotic relationship. Next, parasitic fungi means the fungi lives on the living plants or living animals. It may cause the disease. Here it is not the symbiotic relationship, it is not in symbiotic relationship, both are helped together, but in parasitic type of relationships one organism only benefited, that is the fungi. Fungi live on the living plants or living animals and it will take food and shelter from the living organism. That type of relationship is called as a parasitic relationship. Here what happened? The fungi is parasite. It will, then the from the which organism it will take food and shelter, that is the host. Example, few types of parasitic fungi will cause the disease. Example for that is white spots on mustard. Mustard is one type of plant. On the leaves, this is the leaf of mustard. On the leaf we can see the white spots. On the mustard leaf we can see the white spots. That white spots are because of the fungi that is called as albugo candida. Albugo candida. Albugo candida is one parasitic fungi which lives on the mustard leaf. Next, another one is wheat rust. Wheat rust is because of the fungi that is called as Puccinia. Puccinia. Puccinia is the one type of fungi that will cause the disease. Name of the disease is wheat rust. That are the two examples for the parasitic fungi. But all fungi are not harmful. Few fungi are helps to the human beings. Example for that is yeast. Yeast. If you observe the yeast is used for the production of beer and production of bread. Then if you see the few types of fungi that will produce the antibiotics, example for that is penicillium. Penicillium is one type of fungus that will produce the penicillin. What is the penicillin? It is antibiotic. Sometimes we can take, we may see that the injections which are given to the patients for the bacterial infections are actually penicillin can kill different variety, lot of variety of bacteria. Hence it is the antibiotic. Okay, that penicillin which is extracted from the penicillium we can take in the form of injections to kill the harmful bacteria which are present in the human body. That is about the useful fungi. Once again, if you observe the kingdom fungi, in kingdom fungi we have to discuss that kingdom fungi I have classified into the 5 groups, actually 5 parts for explanation, that is introduction, nutrition, body organization, reproduction and classification. Already we have discussed about the introduction. In introduction, the fungi are multicellular, heterotrophic and cosmopolitan. Then those are lives in humid and warm conditions, and on the moist bread and rotten fruits we can see the fungi. Mushrooms and toadstools also one type of fungi. Then after that I have started the nutrition. There are 3 types of nutrition we can see in the fungi, that is saprophytic nutrition, symbiotic nutrition and parasitic nutrition. We have discussed about the saprophytic nutrition, symbiotic nutrition and parasitic nutrition. Then after completion of the nutrition we have to discuss about the body organization of fungi. Third part that we have to discuss in the kingdom fungi is body organization. Okay, if you see the fungi body, fungi contain filamentous body. Okay, each filament is called as a hyphae. Each filament is called as a hyphae. See here, if you observe the body of fungi which contain lot of filaments, lot of hyphae combine together and form one structure that is called as a mycelium. mycelium. What is mycelium? Network of hyphae. Network of hyphae is called as a mycelium. See here, sometime the hyphae contain cross walls. These are the cross walls of the hyphae. When the cross walls are present in the hyphae, that type of hyphae is called as septate hyphae. When cross walls are present in the hyphae, that hyphae is called as a septate hyphae. Sometimes hyphae not contain the cross walls. There is no cross walls on the hyphae. Then that is called as a aseptate hyphae. Aseptate hyphae. In few fungi, the filamentous structure or hyphae which not contain the cross walls contain lot of nuclei inside it. Multinucleate condition you can see. When the aseptate hyphae contain lot of nuclei in its cytoplasm, then that is called as a cenocytic hyphae. Cenocytic hyphae. That is about the body organization of fungi. Once again, each filament of fungi is called as hyphae. The network of hyphae is called as mycelium. When hyphae contain the cross walls, that is called as septate hyphae. When hyphae not contain the cross walls, that is called as aseptate hyphae. When aseptate hyphae contain lot of nuclei, that is called as a cenocytic hyphae. Then after the completion of body organization, we have to discuss about the reproduction of fungi. Reproduction of fungi. Fungi exhibit the different types of reproduction. The important types of reproduction that are exhibited by fungi are vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, and the sexual reproduction. Vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, and the sexual reproduction. All three types of reproductions we can observe in the kingdom fungi. First, vegetative reproduction. First we have to see about the vegetative reproduction. If you observe the vegetative reproduction, that vegetative reproduction again divided into different types. That are, number one is by fragmentation. Fragmentation. Here what happened? Fungi mycelium fragmented into small pieces, or fungi mycelium divided into small fragments. Again each fragment is developed into a new organism. That is called as fragmentation. It is one type of vegetative reproduction. Then second type of vegetative reproduction is fission. See, this is the parental fungi cell that is cleaved into the, or you can see the fission in the parental organism that leads to the formation of new fungal cells. That is about the fission. Then third type of vegetative reproduction is budding. Budding commonly you can see in the yeast. See, this is the yeast, unicellular fungi. Small outgrowths are developed from the unicellular fungi, that is called as bud. This bud will dissociate from the parental body, again developed into a new organism. That is called as budding. That are the three types of vegetative reproductions which are occurs in the kingdom fungi. After completion of vegetative reproduction, we have to discuss about the second type of reproduction, that is asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction occurs by the spores. The spores which are involved in the asexual reproduction of fungi are, number one is conidia. Conidia. See, this is the conidia. Conidia or conidiospores. The conidia is develops from the conidiophore. Conidiophore. Conidiophore will form the conidia. Those are exogenous spores. Actually, spores are divided into two types, endogenous and exogenous, based on their formation. If spores are formed externally, those are exogenous. If the spores are formed inside the sporangium, those are called as endogenous. Or if the spores are found with inside the fruiting body, those are called as endogenous spores. Here conidiospores are the exogenous spores. Then second is sporangiospores. Sporangiospores. Sporangiospores are developed within the sporangium. This is the sporangium. Inside the sporangium, you can see the development of sporangiospores. Those are endogenous spores. Next, after the sporangiospores, we have to discuss about the zoospores. Zoospores also one type of asexual reproductive spores. These zoospores also formed within the sporangium. Here the difference between zoospores and conidiospores. The zoospores, conidiospores and sporangiospores. The zoospores contain flagella. The zoospores contain flagella and those are motile. Here conidiospores not contain flagella, hence those are not the motile. That is about the asexual reproduction. Next we have to discuss about the sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction. The sexual reproduction also occurs by the different types of spores. The spores which are involved in the sexual reproduction are oospores, aplanospores, and basidiospores. Oospores, aplanospores, and basidiospores. These oospores, aplanospores, not aplanospores, ascospores. Oospores, ascospores. Oospores, ascospores, basidiospores. That are sexual reproductive. Those are involved in the sexual reproduction. Hence, that spores are related to sexual reproductive spores. If you observe the oospores, see, oospores also endogenous spores. Then if you observe the ascospores, ascospores also endogenous spores. Those are found within the ascus. Within the ascus. Then if you observe the basidiospores, basidiospores are exogenous spores. Those are formed on the basidium. This is the basidium. And basidiospores are formed on the basidium. That is about the sexual reproduction. Here once again, if you observe the reproduction in the kingdom fungi, that occurs by three different types: vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction, and sexual reproduction. Vegetative reproduction occurs by the fragmentation. Then after that, fission and the budding. Next, sexual reproduction occurs by the formation of asexual reproduction occurs by the formation of spores. That spores of asexual reproduction are conidiospores, sporangiospores, and the zoospores. Next, sexual reproduction also occurs by the spores, that are oospores, ascospores, and the basidiospores. Then sexual reproduction contain the, actually briefly we will discuss about the life cycle of kingdom fungi. Fungi life cycle we have to see. That is also part of the reproduction life cycle. In life cycle, first we will discuss about the stages of sexual reproduction. Stages of sexual reproduction. See, first stage in the sexual reproduction is plasmogamy. First stage in the sexual reproduction is plasmogamy. Plasmogamy occurs in between the two different strains of fungi. See, this is one strain, this is one strain. It occurs in between the two cells, or it may occurs in between the two hyphae. What is hyphae? Already we have discussed. That is the filament of fungi is called as hyphae. Here what happened? Plasmogamy means fusion of two gametes or two cells or two hyphae. Those are haploid in nature. This is haploid and here it is also haploid. Both are haploid. Both haploid hyphae or both haploid cells, protoplasm will be fused. That is the first step in the, or first stage in the sexual reproduction, that is the plasmogamy. Plasmogamy means fusion of protoplasm of different strains of cells are in between the two different gaps. These two may be two hyphae or these two may be two cells. These two may be gametes. Here what happened? We can see the plasmogamy in between the two cells. If these two cells are similar in size and shape, that type of fusion is called as isogamy. If both are different means anisogamy. Both are different size and shape means anisogamy. If one is larger, another one is small, that is called as oogamy. Actually oogamy means male is small motile, female is large. See, after the plasmogamy what happened? This is one cell or one hyphae. Here it is one cell or one hyphae. We can see the fusion of a nucleus. After the fusion of a protoplasm, second stage of the sexual reproduction is karyogamy. Karyogamy. What is the karyogamy? Karyogamy means fusion of nuclei. Here these are the two strains, each one contain haploid nuclei. If that both nuclei are fused, that is called as karyogamy. Here after karyogamy we can see the formation of a diploid nucleus. Both haploid nuclei are combined together and form one diploid nucleus. Then the structure is called as a zygospore. Zygospore. In few types of fungi, what happened? The two nuclei after the plasmogamy, immediately they will be fused. Immediately these two nuclei are fused after the fusion of the protoplasm. But in few fungi like basidiomycetes, basidiomycetes and deuteromycetes. Ascomycetes, not deuteromycetes, ascomycetes and basidiomycetes. We can see dikaryotic stage, dikaryon stage. What is the dikaryotic stage? There is a 2 nuclei stage. Before the formation of zygote or before the formation of zygospore, we can see the presence of 2 nuclei within one cell. That is called as a dikaryotic stage. Dikaryotic stage commonly we can see in the ascomycetes and basidiomycetes. Actually, the fungi classified into 4 groups, that are phycomycetes, ascomycetes, basidiomycetes and deuteromycetes. Only in the ascomycetes and basidiomycetes you can see the dikaryotic stage. Then after the fusion of that we can see the formation of the zygote. Then this zygote, that zygote will form the, or zygospore will form the spore producing structures. See, this is the spore producing structure. Spore producing structure we can see formation of spore producing structure from the zygospore or from the zygote. Again within the that spore producing sporangium we can see the formation of spores by the division of nucleus. Here this nucleus is 2n, which is divided by the meiosis. What is the meiosis? Meiosis is a reductional division which leads to the formation of haploid spores within the sporangium. This is the diploid nuclei. Diploid nuclei divided by the diploid cell. Actually, diploid cell is divided by the meiosis. After the meiosis, we can see the formation of spores. Hence, spore producing structure involved in meiosis, which leads to the formation of spores. See, these are the spores. Those spores are haploid because those are formed by the meiosis. Again, that spores which are in haploid nature germinate and form the hyphae of fungi or new fungi. See, germinate. They will be germinate and form the new fungi. That is the sexual reproduction. Actually, the main stages of sexual reproduction are: number 1 is plasmogamy, means fusion of protoplasms. Then the number 2 is karyogamy, means fusion of nuclei. Next, number 3 is the meiosis. Meiosis of zygote leads to the formation of spores. That are the 3 stages. Third stage is meiosis in the zygospore or zygote. Meiosis in the zygote leads to the formation of spores again. That spores again become into a new fungi. Next, that is the sexual life cycle. But if you see the asexual life cycle, in which what happen? Fungi directly produce the spores by mitosis. By mitosis we can see the formation of spores. Example, see, this is the sporangium which present in the haploid sporangium, which present in the haploid hyphae. These sporangium cells which are present in the sporangium divide by mitosis and form the spores. Again that spores will be germinate and form the new fungi. That is about the asexual cycle. It is the asexual reproduction, directly formation of spores. Again spores will germinate and form the new fungi. But if you observe the sexual cycle, here we can see 3 stages, that is plasmogamy, karyogamy, the meiosis in the zygote. That is about the life cycle of kingdom fungi. Welcome to Lakshman Biology. Here we will discuss about the classification of fungi. Classification of fungi. Fungi classified into 4 groups based on morphology of mycelium. Already we know what is the mycelium. Network of network of hyphae is called as mycelium. Based on the morphology of mycelium and the mode of spore formation and fruiting body formation, the fungi is divided into 4 groups, that are: number 1 is phycomycetes, number 2 is ascomycetes, number 3 is basidiomycetes, number 4 is deuteromycetes. Phycomycetes, ascomycetes, basidiomycetes and deuteromycetes. These are the 4 groups of fungi. Then one by one we have to discuss. First we have to discuss about the phycomycetes. Okay, phycomycetes also called as algal fungi. Phycomycetes also called as algal fungi. If you observe the phycomycetes, the phycomycetes mycelium is aseptate. Aseptate means there is no cross walls. Then the hyphae or mycelium contain lot of nuclei, hence mycelium is or hyphae is symbiotic. Already we know it. Aseptate means A means absent, septa is absent. A means absent. Which absent? Septa is absent, hence aseptate. Symbiotic means which contain more than one nuclei. Aseptate, symbiotic. If you observe the aseptate symbiotic hyphae, it can reproduce asexually by using the 2 types of spores. Those are called as aplanospores or zoospores. See, this is the sporangium. Within the sporangium we can see the formation of asexual spores. Those are called as aplanospores or zoospores. The difference between aplanospores and zoospores is zoospores are motile. Aplanospores are not the motile. Because of presence of flagella, zoospores can move from one place to another place. These aplanospores or zoospores germinate, again will form the fungus. Germinate and form the again will form the fungi. If you observe the sexual reproduction of phycomycetes, during the sexual reproduction we can see fusion of protoplasm of 2 different hyphae, or the fusion of 2 different gametes, that is called as plasmogamy. In plasmogamy we can see the fusion of 2 different hyphae. This is one, this is another one. Here we cannot see the dikaryotic stage. We cannot see the dikaryotic stage. After the fusion of plasmogamy, we can see the fusion of nucleus, immediately both nuclei are fused together, that leads to the formation of zygospore. It is in diploid condition. This is the zygospore, which contain 2n nucleus. Zygospore. Once again, if you observe the sexual reproduction, first we can see the plasmogamy, means fusion of protoplasm of two different gametes or two different hyphae, different strain hyphae. If the two gametes are similar, that is called as isogamy. If the two gametes are dissimilar, that is called anisogamy. If one is large, if female is large and male is small, motile, that is called as oogamy. That plasmogamy different types, that is isogamy, anisogamy and oogamy. Isogamy, anisogamy and the oogamy. Here which leads to the formation of zygospore. The zygospore will form the spore forming structure. This is the spore forming structure or sporangium. Within the sporangium we can see the formation of spores. These spores again germinate and form the aseptate symbiotic phycomycetes, or it will form again the new fungus. Here what happen? The spores are formed by the meiosis. Within the sporangium or within the fruiting body, we can see the formation of spores by the meiosis. That is about the sexual cycle of the phycomycetes. Once again, if you observe the classification of fungi, fungi is divided into 4 groups, that are phycomycetes, ascomycetes, basidiomycetes and deuteromycetes. First one is phycomycetes. Phycomycetes also called as algal fungi. If you observe the phycomycetes, which is aseptate and the symbiotic, then the asexual spores of the phycomycetes are aplanospores and the zoospores. These aplanospores and zoospores again will form the, again germinate and form the new fungi. After that, here the aseptate symbiotic hyphae, during the sexual reproduction, 2 hyphae come close to each other, which belongs to the 2 strains. Then both are these hyphae are both cells. Here we can say it is cells also. Both cells are come close together. After that we can see the fusion of protoplasm, that is called as plasmogamy. Immediately both nuclei are fused, which leads to the formation of zygospore. Zygospore again germinate and form the fruiting body. Within it we can see the reduction division, that is meiosis. Why? Because it is diploid. Here the hyphae also haploid. Here each one contain haploid nucleus, that is become into diploid. Again diploid nucleus is become into involved in meiosis and form the haploid spores. That haploid spores again germinate and form the haploid fungi. That is about the phycomycetes. Examples of phycomycetes is the rhizopus. Rhizopus and mucor is the example for the phycomycetes. If you observe the second group of fungi, that is ascomycetes. Ascomycetes is multicellular, mostly multicellular. Example for that multicellular ascomycetes is penicillium. Penicillium is example for the multicellular ascomycetes. Some are the unicellular. Some are unicellular. Example for that is yeast. Example for unicellular fungi is the yeast. Then if you observe the ascomycetes, the nutrition in the ascomycetes may be saprophytic or parasitic or decomposers or caprophilous. Saprophytic means they lives on dead organic matter and absorb the dead organic matter. Parasitic means they lives on the living organisms and they will take food and shelter from the living organisms. Decomposers means those are involved in the decaying. The material will be decaying because of decomposers. Next, caprophilus means those are lives on the dung. That is about the 4 different types of nutrition in the ascomycetes. After that we have to discuss about the reproduction in ascomycetes. If you observe the ascomycetes are septate. Mycelium of ascomycetes is septate. Septate means which contain the cross walls. Mycelium in ascomycetes is septate. Septate meaning which contain the cross walls. Apart from that, we can see the formation of conidia as asexual spores. Conidia are asexual spores. That conidia are actually formed in the conidiophore. Conidia are formed in the conidiophore. Here what happened? The septate hyphae, some of the hyphae will contain the conidia, that is called as conidiophore. These conidia will release and germinate. Finally again it will form the new fungi. Then if you observe the sexual reproduction, during the sexual reproduction, first step already we know it, that is the plasmogamy. In plasmogamy we can see the fusion of 2 cells. See, this is the hyphae and it is another cell. Cells which are belongs to 2 different strains combined together, see, which leads to the formation of dikaryotic stage. Example, here this is one cell, here it is one cell, both cells are fused together, which leads to the formation of dikaryotic stage. Which leads to the formation of dikaryotic stage. Then after the dikaryotic stage, the both nuclei, we can see fusion of both nuclei. Both haploid nuclei are fused together and form the diploid nucleus. This is called as karyogamy. That is called as karyogamy. Then after the karyogamy, the diploid nuclei within the ascus, it is called as ascus. The sac-like structure is called as ascus. The diploid nucleus within the ascus will divide by meiosis and form the haploid nuclei. This sac-like structure is called as ascus. Within the ascus we can see the meiosis. After the meiosis we can see the formation of sexual spores. Those are called as ascospores. See here, that ascospores which are formed within the ascus arranged inside the ascocarp. It is called as ascocarp. Within the ascocarp we can see the ascospores. These are the ascospores. These ascospores released and germinate into the new fungi. That is about the sexual reproduction in the ascomycetes. Once again, if you observe the ascomycetes are multicellular. Example for that is penicillium, and those are unicellular also. Example for that is yeast. Then ascomycetes are saprophytic or parasitic are decomposers or the saprophytes. Saprophytic means they are lives on the dead organic material. Parasitic means they lives on the living organisms. Decomposers means those will decay the material. Saprophytes means those are lives on the dead. Here if you observe the asexual reproduction of ascomycetes, asexual reproduction occurs by the conidia. Those conidia are formed in specific hyphae, those are called as conidiophore. The conidia germinate, again it will form the new fungi. If you observe the sexual reproduction, during sexual reproduction first step is plasmogamy. During plasmogamy you can see the fusion of two cells which belongs to two strains. After that we can see the formation of dikaryotic stage. This is the dikaryotic stage. Why? Because within one cell we can see the two nuclei. Then after that the two nuclei are fused together and which leads to the formation of a zygote. Again these diploid nucleus divide by the meiosis and form the ascospores. These ascospores are found within the ascus. That ascus are arranged in the ascocarp. Finally ascospores are released from the ascocarp that are germinate, again form the new fungus. That is about the ascomycetes. After completion of ascomycetes, in next video we will discuss about the remaining two groups of the fungi. Thank you.